Welcome to our community. I'm Michael Levy, President of the Digital Health Institute for Transformation, or DHIT for short. We've teamed up with Crowdicity and the Assist Center at North Carolina State University to launch this exciting virtual incubator. COVID-19 has created a worldwide crisis that has shaken our communities to the core. The virus's toll on human life and our standard of life cannot be overstated. However, the present crisis creates an opportunity. We can come together as innovators to create new solutions that solve real problems, not only related to COVID-19, but which can be sustained long after the pandemic. We're all in this together, and we need your ideas, your input, and your energy. We need status quo challengers, those with great ideas, potential game-changing solutions, and practicing care providers and public health officials to help us submit, comment, vote, test, and develop. I'll turn things over to my co-host Adam Curry to invite you to participate in our challenges.
Thank you, Michael. I'm Adam Curry, Innovation Ecosystem Director at the Assist Center. We've worked with thought leaders in healthcare, research, and industry to identify some of the key health challenges facing us in light of COVID-19. Through this incubator, we are presenting these challenges to the innovator community. We want all of you innovators to submit and share your ideas for solving these problems, and we want everyone, inventors, entrepreneurs, people in large companies and small companies, those giving care and those who've received care, to provide your insights on the ideas you see posted. You'll find all of the challenges presented on the welcome page. Click on Challenge to learn more and post your idea about how to address it. Also, take a chance to review the other submitted ideas and provide your own insights. You may see a chance to collaborate with someone else in the community. If so, reach out and have a deeper discussion. As we move toward the end of the incubator, we'll invite final proposals, which you can submit as an individual or maybe as a team that you've formed. And our judges panel will select the most promising proposals to move on. Now, if you're in a company or other organization with an interest in improving healthcare, we are actively seeking people like you to partner with us in this initiative. Join us as a program champion, and you can issue sub-challenges to help your organization find the right solutions. Or be an innovation champion and create an innovation award for an idea that stands above the rest. Finally, you can join us as a program supporter and let the community know that you're with us in fighting persistent healthcare challenges. Over the course of the incubator, we'll also be hosting a webinar series to inform the challenges. I'll turn it back over to Michael now to tell you more about it.
Thank you, Adam. To spark discussion and catalyze ideas to these challenges, we're hosting a series of webinars every 2 weeks that bring together subject matter experts and thought leaders to educate the ecosystem regarding the many challenges and opportunities to advance care and utilize emerging technologies. The combination of these didactic expert panels and the crowdsourcing of ideas through the incubator create an engine to propel innovations from ideation to development to impact. Upon final submission of your ideas, our ecosystem of experts and champions will review them and select winners and recipients to our challenges and special innovation awards. Here's to building a cloud community to drive ground immunity. Welcome panelists, welcome attendees. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world today. Welcome to another episode of COVID-19 Unites Us All, brought to you by the DHIT, Digital Health Institute for Transformation, and the Assist Center. I'm your co-host, Michael Levy, the president of DHIT, and as it's become a norm, I'm joined today with Adam Curry, Innovation Ecosystem Director at the Assist Center. Like last episode, we've got an episode today that's dedicated to our innovation champions, which I'm just so excited to have the rest of the innovation champions of our virtual incubator here today, Adam. These as you kind of mentioned prior to broadcast here, they've been critical to driving a successful program. And the three that we have today that you'll kind of introduce here in a moment are absolute stellar in our ecosystem in our region today. One freshly joins us from into North Carolina, I guess a couple months ago, but others have been here for a while. Anyway, Adam,
what a killer group that we have today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure working with these organizations, and so we're excited to have another three today. As you know, and if you've been joining us, you've seen over the last few months, we've discussed a range of different challenges in maintaining health and wellness, especially in the context of providing care during COVID, but also extending beyond that as well. And so we've looked at how emerging technologies can help address the challenges we've been looking at. And today we'll discuss the roadmap to impact for these technologies and what it takes to really drive them toward being not just inventions, but innovations with impact. Specifically, we'll dig into some of the key hurdles, milestones, kind of inflection points as innovators work to take their ideas from concept to the market where there's really an impact. So today, as you mentioned, we have three panelists that we're very excited to have. We have David Heenan, Director of Cone Health Ventures, who works with emerging companies to develop and vet solutions within Cone Health to improve patient and provider experiences, and then take those products to market. We have Krista Covey, newly appointed President of First Flight Venture Center. Welcome, Krista, whose goal is to launch new initiatives and programmatic breakthroughs to support early stage companies. Last, but of course not least, we have Rachael Newberry, Program Director of the RIoT Accelerator Program, who's responsible to increase the impact of traditional business development resources to learn, partner, and bring products to market.
Yeah, like I said, killer group, super excited to jump in. Myself, selfishly, so curious to hear from you all on the work that you do every day and the types of problems that you solve against. I'm sure the audience is equally excited. But before we jump in, like I do every episode of this series, I just want to send energy, thoughts, prayers, any positive vibes out there to all those on the front lines of this pandemic that are fighting for their lives, that are fighting to save lives, that are fighting to maintain a standard of life. That is our goal here is to drive education, insight, awareness to the many things we can do as an ecosystem and a community to support this pandemic. So please just send that energy, send that good vibes, and share good thoughts. With that, I'd like to also thank our sponsors who are supporting our COVID Unites Us All season and our virtual incubator.
Thank you to our program champion, Pfizer Digital, and to all of our innovation champions. Thank you for making this possible.
So before we jump in, I want to encourage our audience to submit any questions in the Q&A section. You can find that button at the bottom of Zoom. Send questions over. We'll pick a few at the end of the program to get answers from our panelists. Okay, so to get started, panelists, we're going to ask each of you three questions, and just want to ask them in sequence. We'll ask each of you the question, and then we'll move on to the next. So first question is, why does your organization exist? In a sense, what is its mission? And Krista, let's start with you for First Flight.
Sure. So good morning or afternoon or whatever time zone you're in. I just want to say again, thank you so much for having me here. So First Flight exists to serve high science, high impact startups that are changing the world. So we are a nonprofit business incubator located in the Research Triangle Park. And we have about 30 to 40 clients at any one time. We have 40 offices and 21 labs, plus co-working space. And we have several programs to help our science-focused startups. One is the Navigators, so that are entrepreneurs in residence, so entrepreneurs that have been there and done it, that volunteer their time to mentor and coach our startup. It's a 4-year program, and many of our startups are looking to get non-dilutive funding or looking for grants. And so we partner with a local grant writer to help our entrepreneurs go through that process And so it's a 4-year-old program, but our companies have raised over $16 million in non-dilutive funding so far. So we're really excited about that. And then we of course have Hangar 6, which is our advanced prototyping facility. That's an opportunity for companies to design, build, and model prototypes. We have some great equipment like CNC mills, 3D printers, a wood shop, laser cutters, welding shop, and more. And finally, we're really excited about being one of the 13 accelerators as a part of the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, or BARDA, helping to advance human health science focused ventures. So that's a little bit about First Flight.
Yeah, thank you. And if we'll see at the end, as we announce our winners, that Hangar 6 is one of the sponsors. So getting tapped into that prototyping capability, really excited about that for our participants and winners of the incubator. David, how about Cone Health Ventures? What are you guys going after?
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for having us here. And thank you to everybody that's attending. It's a little weird talking to an audience I can't see, but we'll do our best. Yeah, so Cone Health realized that that they had a pretty long new technology adoption curve, and that there was nobody driving, sort of making sure that the organization as a whole was staying ahead of the curve, or at least on the curve. Really, they were bogged down in the day-to-day of running a large health system, which is understandable. And two, that there'd be startups that would come to the organization and engage with clinical or operational leaders and extract a lot of value out of the organization, while also taking up a lot of time and resources of our personnel to do this. But it was something that we wanted to do. So they established Cone Health Ventures in order to support operational leaders, clinical leaders as well, in meeting their strategic priorities, overcoming challenges through partnerships with entrepreneurial and innovative companies. So unlike a traditional venture fund or venture office in a corporate situation, we're not out there just seeking the best opportunity or the most opportunistic investment. My main job is to meet with all of our leaders on a daily basis to understand those problems, understand those priorities, understand what's standing in the way, and then go out to the market to see who wants to work with Cone to solve these challenges. And through solving those challenges, we often create new products, we often create new business models, and then after validating here at Cone, we will provide the startup with the resources as well as our network and our brand to help them scale into the market to other health systems in other parts of the world.
Yeah, great. And David, tell us where Cone Health is and where you operate out of.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a little new here too. So if I misquote the stats here, forgive me. I've been with Cone since November. Prior to that, I was with the American Cancer Society. We're located in Greensboro. We primarily serve a 5-county area around Greensboro, with a metropolitan statistical area of 2± million. This is a fully integrated health system, meaning we have 6 hospitals, several ambulatory surgical centers, urgent cares, skilled nursing facilities, and an array of specialties. We also own one of the nation's largest ACOs with over 250,000 attributed members, as well as a medium-sized Medicare Advantage plan serving the North Carolina residents.
Yeah, great. So this is not a small organization.
Not your mom and pop shop. We've been around for over 100 years. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So great resource to our innovators who are gonna be able to take advantage of that. So excited to have that be part of this incubator and have you part of the conversation today. So Rachel, I want to move to you. RIoT, exciting organization's been part of the innovation journey in the Triangle area and beyond, actually. So anyway, would you give us a little insight into what RIoT's about?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Adam. Hi, everyone. Good to be here this morning, and thanks to DHIT for having us. So RIoT quite literally started as a meetup group. 6 years ago, we started convening technology and business professionals in the RTP region to talk about the future of wireless. So we were looking at, as the economy moves from being driven by the internet and information technology to being driven by data and IoT, We just started to get folks together to talk about what that looks like and what that means for business. Today, we still do a lot of convening, so events is a core part of what we do, but ultimately we support businesses large and small with taking advantage of the opportunities that IoT presents. So we run a sponsor ecosystem of about 80 corporate partners. We have our event series that ranges from educational workshops to larger conference style events. And then we operate a startup accelerator. So we launched that 12-week intensive program back in 2018. To date, have supported 32 startups that have driven 47 million in revenue over the past couple of years. So yeah, we're just excited to be able to support those early stage IoT companies. Ultimately, we're an economic development nonprofit, so we care about things like job creation and company growth.
Yeah, great.
That's amazing.
The accelerator, I just want to mention one more thing. The accelerator, RIoT Accelerator Program, RAP, is one of the benefits that will be presented for our innovators. And I did want to just ask, kind of a corollary to Cone, you have expanded beyond the triangle. Can you say a little bit about the other places that RIoT is impacting now? Yeah,
that's right. So our model with the accelerator program, we imagine being able to put this resource in other geographies. In particular, we want to be able to support rural entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs that exist outside of the urban centers. So, entrepreneurship exists everywhere. The urban areas, of course, are highly resourced. So we think we can fill a gap there with, bringing our IoT expertise outside of urban areas. So today we're headquartered in Raleigh, still operate an accelerator program there. And then we also have an accelerator program in Wilson, North Carolina, about an hour east of Raleigh. And we formally launched a partnership with Stafford, Virginia, just last month. So beginning to expand, and we've got some RIoT chapters in Charlotte and Atlanta as well. So a lot of Southeast areas, but hopefully we'll have some exciting new locations to announce soon.
Yeah, awesome.
That's amazing. And I could just feel the energy across all of you in respects to being so passionate about what you do and bringing that to the table every day. This next question I love just because it gets to the person and it gets to who you are and why you do what you do. Rachael, maybe you could just share a little bit, about what drives this purpose personally, and you wake up every day and you push this vision and mission forward. Why does it matter?
Yeah, I think entrepreneurs are some of the most just incredible people. They're really hungry to solve problems. And I think, solving problems in the world, like what's better than that? So I think my passion is really around just supporting entrepreneurs and helping them get the resources that they need to grow. I was born and raised in the Triangle area, went to UNC Chapel Hill, worked with the Startup Factory, which is a tech accelerator in Durham. Built a startup incubator at Duke. So I really am just also passionate about this region. I think we have all of the ingredients here to be just an entrepreneurial powerhouse and a center of excellence for IoT. So yeah, I'm here to just support the problem solvers of the world. That's what drives me.
I love it. Well, I'm sure that trend follows through to Krista and David. But Krista, maybe you can share with us that same drum beat. You wake up whatever time, 5, 4, 6 a.m. and you get out of bed and you're like, okay, let's attack it. Why does that matter to you? What drives you?
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely, what Rachael said resonates with me, right? So it's all about working with these problem solvers. And, I've been an entrepreneur myself. And so I've kind of been there and done that. And it's not an easy journey, but boy, I like to say I get my warm and fuzzies when some of the entrepreneurs I'm working with come back to me and they say, Krista, I just met my next milestone, or I got my first customer, or I finally commercialized this technology that I've been working on for forever. And so I get to share in that excitement. I get to share in that joy. And so if I can be helpful to them, boy, that gets me excited to wake up in the morning. So yeah, this is definitely.
Awesome. David, let's round out.
Yeah.
I know you've got a little one at home too, and I know that's drawing on your time, and energy, but it doesn't hold you back from coming out of the gates every day, pushing forward. So what's keeping that engine going?
Yeah, little one and actually another little one on the way in December.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
So I'd be remiss to say that that's not what got me up every morning, but for the spirit of the conversation, I've told this story many times actually throughout my entrepreneurial career, and I always thought it was sort of cheeky, but now recent times have made it more prophetic. So, I was always the person that ran to the biggest challenge, to where the action was. As a kid, I'd climb a tree as high as I could and just jump. I'd be the first one to jump in a body of water that you couldn't see the bottom. And so in school, I studied international trade and security. I think I wanted to go into non-proliferation studies because weapons of mass destruction was the whole thing when we were growing up, right? And fighting terrorism. And so my first job was into Argonne National Laboratory, made my way through different government agencies, and wound up working for a congressperson, running for Senate, right in the heart of the ACA debate, the Affordable Care Act debate. And it was through that immersion in the policy and all the things there that I realized that, the world wasn't going to end in nuclear holocaust. The world was actually going to end with something much more like the flu or a coronavirus. And so with that, after losing that Senate election, I shifted my focus to health studies, public health studies, and wound up at the CDC. And really, the reason I get up every morning is because there's not many professions where you can contribute to saving lives on a daily basis. And sure, I'm not a frontline doctor, but enabling them to do their work more productively, enabling them to do their work more accurately and effectively is as close as I can get to actually impacting individuals, but also impacting society as a whole. And I think if we can solve the huge ball of wax that is the healthcare industry through incremental innovation, on the ground stuff that reaches bedside, that we can actually get rid of a lot of problems from finances and mental health and just issues with society and inequalities within society. And so I get up every morning because I believe what I'm doing is the most important thing that we can do for humanity.
Oh, that just gave me chills, literally, no joking, because it's so aligned to why DHIT exists and why, Assist and DHIT have partnered together over the last 3 to 4 months to bring this programming to a regular beat and to develop what we could in the time of distance engaging and virtual engaging, a virtual incubator, an incubator that says, look, we're all in this together. We could talk about it, or we can try to do something about it. We have pain in the system, we have problems in the system. Let's try to do our part, right? And each of you represent an organization that has come to the table with us and partnered with us through this virtual incubator. So, I'd love to just kind of tee at that and pull at that just a little bit in the kind of question and the framing of why did you decide, and what are you hoping that this kind of partnership yields? Each of, as we'll announce later, the winners of our virtual incubator. It doesn't end; it goes on. So maybe, David, picking up where you left off. Here we are together, and we're going to continue. What does that mean to you, and what does that look like to you?
Yeah, thanks. So as I said, I started here at Cone last November. Really didn't get my feet under me until January, and then this existential crisis hit. And I think it really makes the need or shows that the need for what DHIT is doing, what all of us are doing here, is so acute right now that the timing for this virtual incubator is just perfect. And so there are arising either a new or renewed focus on all these digital health technologies that have been around for a while, but now we suddenly need them, and they're important, and we have no choice but to break with the old ways. But then there's also all these new novel situations that are happening around, contact tracing, and how do we reopen safely, and what about people getting surgery to just need visitors in their hospital? How are we going to achieve some normalcy? And it's going to be the innovators, and it's going to be people like us that help those innovators get there, that really return society to a new normal. And so that's what I'm hoping to accomplish here, that we can come together and figure out what that new normal is, make it as close to the life we remember as possible, but safer than we were before, I think. And so we'll emerge out of this better, as long as it takes to get there. But I am confident we'll emerge out of this better.
Go team! I love that, David. Krista, I know you kind of this relationship predated, let's say, your tenure, your onboarding to an extent, but you came in and I know Emil, who works with you in First Flight, who runs the BARDA and the Hangar 6 with you. He brought this opportunity to the table, and you said, yeah, let's go forward and work with them. So I'm real curious if, as a 2-month old captain of the ship, what drew you to the program, and how does that align to?
Yeah, so we're all in this together, right? So that's the cliche, but it's so true. In the time of COVID, we're all being affected in different ways, but we have an advantage where we're working with some innovators, some game changers, some problem solvers that can really get us past this. And so we should be doing whatever we can to support that. And, collaboration and partnership is in the DNA of First Flight. And so it just made sense for us to work together to support these entrepreneurs that are truly creating the next level innovation to solve this problem. And one of the ways that we found that we could do that is with Hangar 6. So, as these entrepreneurs are, requiring prototypes, and they need to go through that iterative process of coming up with an idea and actually getting to potentially a product or some type of material, we've got that resource. And so we're happy to share that resource. And the resource is not necessarily just the equipment, but sort of the manpower behind it, right? So we've got Sam Durrani, who's our shop manager at Hangar 6, and he's just a wonderful resource to help walk through the iterative and design process with the entrepreneurs. And it's the opportunity for them to fail, right? So fail fast and fail less expensively. And so that's something that we have as a resource, and we're happy to share it.
I love it. And as we patch, last episode together with this episode, and we see the 6 plus organizations that have come together, in my mind, it represents the Olympic rings, right? And kind of moving over to RIoT and moving over to RAP, there's a Venn, but that Venn doesn't, is not extraordinarily overlapping. It's connected, and it provides a similar but congruent, complementary value. And that's what we've tried to architect today over the last 3 months, real time, is this ecosystem of support and services. And so when I kind of move over from Hangar 6 to RIoT and RAP, there are similar advanced prototyping development capabilities, but additional capabilities and additional value propositions. And so, Rachel, why don't you just share a little bit about that from the perspective of why RIoT was interested in, why are you joining, and why have we been partners over the last number of years together?
Yeah. I think today it's just so critical to support healthcare innovation. And, COVID-19 has clearly brought on this huge need for all sorts of healthcare solutions, and has really activated a lot of entrepreneurs to, jump in and create solutions for just really massive and intense problems that we're seeing today with this public health crisis. So, back in early April, RIoT launched an initiative called Mission R to kind of capture that entrepreneurial activation and support innovation around COVID-19. And this DHIT incubator is really just a natural continuation of that. We want to collaborate and support the great work that's already happening in healthcare. And Michael, you and your team have been fantastic at pulling together all these resources. I think this panel here today is just a great testament of that. And so we are excited to step in and just continued to help bring these healthcare innovations to market. And I think the RIoT Accelerator Program is really well positioned to bring entrepreneurs into our fold, get them resourced and mentors and all the things they need to really think strategically about entering into a complex healthcare environment.
Yeah, and Michael, you can attest to this. You just heard from all three of our panelists why we reached out to them, why, as we thought about this, and the organizations that are they're really driving after impact and making a difference. These are three of them, and our whole group of sponsors are great examples of that. So,
no doubt.
Yeah, I want to ask a question, and I'll go in order, but I want to invite you all to kind of bounce off of it as you have thoughts about it. You all have great experience driving innovation, as we've heard. Curious about the hurdles that you see, maybe even naming the top 1, 2, 3 hurdles that you see for early stage companies to move their technologies out there. And Krista, I'll start with you.
Sure. So one of the hurdles as far as for entrepreneurship and early stage founders, going through the journey, funding is an issue that we hear a lot about, right? So it's helping them get access to funding opportunities, resources, and then of course just training. How do you go out and ask for funding? How do you, what is the path for you? And so funding is one. I'd say, teams are typically what make a good venture move forward quickly. And so having the right team surrounding that founder is really important. So that can be, a struggle sometimes getting that right mix. And then also just the right resources. Sometimes we need to, the best way that we can help our entrepreneurs is to make the connections, make the introductions, and also talk about them, right? So we, as a business incubator and entrepreneur support organization, another way that we serve our entrepreneurs is by talking about them, celebrating their successes, and helping them gain recognition for the good work that they're doing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. David, how about you? What are you seeing as top challenges?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, there are an infinite number of challenges for innovators and entrepreneurs to get to the promised land. But playing off Krista, funding is a challenge, and I think it's not only the educational piece on the entrepreneurs, but there's a misalignment between startup culture as a whole and what startups in healthcare specifically go through. Healthcare startups are not this rapid growth B2C type of endeavor that just the right amount of marketing can get done. There's a lot of regulatory hurdles. There's a very, very long sales cycle. And so understanding how to manage the finances against those unique circumstances of healthcare innovation and healthcare entrepreneurship is something that, innovators from outside the industry, where a lot of innovation comes from, that don't understand the buying process of a large healthcare institution, whether it's a health system or an insurance plan, they're trying to follow a game plan that was made for a different game. And so the second thing I would, and this is a tribute to, one of DHIT's pet projects, or I shouldn't even call it that, the core mission, is data liquidity. The data necessary to run a lot of this digital health innovation is trapped behind, monolithic, large corporations that have been fighting regulations to give patients access to their own data, behind, large paywalls, or really even in some situations still, on-premise servers at these healthcare systems that are essentially air-gapped. And so giving individuals access to their data, power to control it, I think would lend well to innovation cycles accelerating in this industry, because that's one of the challenges in the sales cycle is the regulatory challenge to get at that data that's going to drive their product. make it useful to their consumers.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why one of the reasons we're excited to have you guys with the prize you're bringing to the incubator. It's a unique opportunity for these innovators to move it, all the way to that impact that we talked about. Rachel, anything you would add to that?
Yeah, I think David and Krista, teed up some, common themes that we see as well. I would say probably top of mind for me is just product market fit is always a challenge, and just finding the right go-to-market strategy. A huge part of that is understanding how to engage your stakeholders well. And in healthcare, for example, that have very complex stakeholder ecosystems, entrepreneurs have to know how to get to the right people and ask the right questions, and then synthesize that information and use it to craft the right go-to-market strategy and so on. So I think that's first and foremost, is engaging your stakeholders to strategize around bringing a product to market and making sure you have a right fit on all sides. And then naturally the funding question always follows. But I think what we see most with startups is sometimes a preoccupation with venture capital. That's not always the right path for startups. And so really it's about understanding what the right vehicle for funding is a good fit to what you're working on. Grant and non-dilutive funding is a great example. Like, can you use that kind of capital to further develop a product? So yeah, I think and kind of wrapped up in all of that is of course just finding the right resources and expertise to move along. Startups can't be successful in a vacuum, and so I think David, Kristen, and I, all of our organizations exist to wrap the right resources around these startups and make sure that they're getting connected to the right partners that can give them those early wins to survive long enough to get to market.
Yeah, great. In the little bit of interaction I've had with startups, Assist has spun out 10 startups, 3, I think, since I've been there over the past couple of years. And that just resonates, and you hear it again and again, especially the market fit. There's an innovation, there's the push, but you got to have that pull. So
maybe we can frame the next kind of conversational topic around this transformation that's underway right now because of the pandemic, because of the collateral, attributes that we're feeling, i.e., digital, virtual, remote. We're in the early stages of that transformation from a technology perspective, from the technologists in us all. We've seen that coming, but now it's underway. Let's fast forward 3 to 5 years, and maybe David, you can start, and Krista piggyback on, and then Rachel on the programmatic side. So David, from a healthcare perspective, from a market perspective, getting back to product market fit, the market's changing dramatically. Healthcare no longer is looking at incremental, so to speak, but astronomical change as it looks at the future. 3 to 5 years from now, what does Cone Health Ventures, what does Cone Health look like? And then Krista, Rachel, how do we evolve our programs to map that demand?
That's a $64 million question, but I guess that is my job. So a couple things that are emerging right now that we're focused on, and so prediction. We're developing a lot of predictive models around decompensation, both adults and pediatrics, predictive models that really overlap with precision medicine. And so you take a whole bunch of physical traits and environmental traits, and you figure out who is going to be prone to kind of these chronic illnesses, and how do we intervene early in order to drive down the total cost of care. And this leads directly in a very positive way to acknowledging social determinants of health and the effect that has on an individual's health and the overall cost to the system. And so that's the second thing that we're focused on very intently, is how can technology solve or mitigate the effects of social determinants of health everything from transportation to food insecurity to financial literacy to housing, all are now being considered comorbidities to heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and the rest of those tragic chronic illnesses. I think the second thing we're seeing that is very important is personalizing medicine. So being able to decode our genome, now our microbiome, and to understand, what an individual needs, getting away from those kind of one-size-fits-all standards of care to having really personalized care plans. But this presents a big problem for the industry, and that's care coordination. If everybody's on a different plan, then the volume of coordination and management of those plans becomes quickly untenable for one human or a group of humans. And so automation of those plans and care coordination becomes very important. And this leads to the overall question, Mike, of what is Cone Health in the future? And it's really a platform for financing and coordinating care. We're getting farther and farther away from the brick and mortar things that we think about of health systems, and closer to, you can get health care anywhere if it can be managed and if it can be paid for. And so that, I think, is where the systems are going. What that looks like, I don't know for certain, but I do know new tools are going to be needed in order to accomplish that future.
Thank you. $64 million question, $64 billion question, or trillion, depending on where we're going and how fast we're getting there. Krista, what are
it was a $2 trillion question, actually.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'd love to spend that money on other high impact areas, but health right now is certainly it's costing us quite a bit. Krista, what are your thoughts to that, and how do you see first flight, both kind of generally, but specifically as it relates to David?
Yeah, so as the world changes, as industries change, and what we look like in 3 to 5 years, I'm going to maybe take this in a different direction a little bit, but our focus is the entrepreneurs that have those challenges, right? How do we serve this evolving market? And one of the things that I did early on, again, I'm here 2 months, but I met with the founders that we're serving, and I asked them, in light of where we are, right? We're all meeting virtually now, we're interacting differently. How can we serve you? What's our value prop to you? And so it was really community and providing opportunities for the founders to get together to talk through these changes, right? The evolution of the world right now together. And so what one way that we are working to do our best to support them is to provide a virtual founder roundtable so that we can get together on a monthly basis and talk through these changes and opportunities together. And so again, if we're doing our part as First Flight to be obsessed with our customers' problems, right? And the problem is, well, we need community. We need that safe place to talk about this new world here and how we operate in this new world. That is something that we found is working so far. Again, it's early, but we're trying to evolve as an entrepreneur support organization and how we can best serve our client companies in that way.
It's very true, very helpful, and naturally the evolution is real time right now, and we're figuring out as we fly at the moment, as we're in the sky with First Flight, right?
That's right.
Rachel, what about RAP? What about RIoT? What do you see the changes that you're seeing to your programs right now, and do you have any ideas of long-term modifications or evolution?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I completely agree with what Krista is saying about just the need for community that entrepreneurs have. I think that's always been present, but maybe looks a little bit different in this new world that we're in. So we're finding that, as we've transitioned our programming to totally virtual formats, entrepreneurs have been in some ways more engaged than ever and more, grateful to have that community that they can come to and talk through their challenges with and so on. So I think that in that way, virtual programming has really stayed quite effective, even though we love being able to get people together in person, and there's a lot of value in that as well. But we're still able to, build these communities virtually. And I think the other really positive thing that comes out of that is just accessibility. So no matter where you are geographically or even what your financial situation might be or so on, having a virtual program is much easier to jump into than one that you're required to, move over all these barriers to get to and be in person. So I think that kind of leveling of the playing field is really interesting and really positive. And I think that organizations like First Flight and RIoT are going to be able to reach more entrepreneurs and get more people and problem solvers plugged into the resources that they need, because this virtual environment kind of flattens things out, if that makes sense. So I think, looking forward, really leaning into that accessibility piece is something that RIoT looks, is really excited about, just being able to support more entrepreneurs in a virtual world. And then I think the other big change is that we're teaching entrepreneurs that there is no going back to normal. This is a market shift that is perhaps more drastic and intense than other market shifts, but the market is always changing and evolving. So how do you keep up with that, stay ahead of the trends, evolve your value proposition in appropriate ways? So a lot of our kind of programming and mentorship and advice to startups now is just how to stay ahead of that and evolve with the market and understand that this is the change that's not going anywhere. We're not going to snap back to normal.
Yeah, just really interesting. I just want to point out, bringing that aspect up for entrepreneurship is an interesting thing, because we're seeing it with healthcare, and we've been talking about that over the course of these webinars. But to think, it's going to also change how innovation is enabled and how that gets to be driven to market, right along with the increase in virtual care and remote data gathering and remote wellness tracking. So anyway, Michael, do we have time for one more question? Or I know
let's maybe one brief question, and then we'll conclude with the announcement of our winners to the virtual incubator.
Yeah.
You want to frame us out?
Yeah, the panelists are going to love this. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. You're each working with some very cool companies. I'm not going to ask you to do your favorite or the coolest. But if I could get you to, here's an opportunity to highlight maybe one of the things that's going on in your organization in terms of an innovator or an opportunity that you're particularly excited about. Krista, can I start with you?
Sure. So, I'm working with one of the founders that I'm really excited about, just to see her progress in the short, few months that I've been here. I'm just so encouraged by her persistence and her grit and her willingness to be open. And so she is working on a reverse osmosis membrane, so clean water. So it's a clean tech, she's working in the clean tech environment. And so she has a chlorine tolerant membrane, and she has been raising funds. And so we've been working together to help her get pilot trials, but also get the funding behind it. And I'm just really excited because there's a lot of opportunity for her and her company. They're growing. A lot of people are getting excited about her technology. We will all be affected by it in one, hopefully eventually, right, with clean water that affects everyone. So I'm very excited about her venture.
Very cool. Very cool. David, how about you?
Yeah, so we got a portfolio of maybe 8 now, growing every day. But one of the companies I'm really excited about that's about to have a moment, a company called Syneos Health, formerly LifeWallet, group of former Apple engineers led by founder Norberto Menendez out of Miami. And what they've created is this low-code, almost no-code infrastructure for a healthcare organization to set up a digital experience for all of their patients and stakeholders in each one of their patients, providing an avenue that is at simultaneously way more engaging than a patient portal and way more interactive, offering personalized content, care management plans, ability to access their doctors, make appointments, all within one mobile experience, fitting different service lines from ED to urgent care to primary care. And so that's just something that we've developed side by side with the company. We've launched a couple different aspects of it to date, but in the new year, we'll be launching the full suite. And I'm just super excited to see how that goes and to watch how it's received by our patients.
Yeah, oh, awesome. Rachel?
Yeah, so I'll highlight a couple of our healthcare companies for this audience. So the one company I'm working with currently is called On Call People. They have a solution for better scheduling with healthcare professionals that takes a lot of the labor out of it. Helps healthcare operate very patient oriented, and some of that administrative gunk that mucks up the system can be smoothed out. So they have a scheduling solution. They have a solution for just better communication so that there's less issues with handoff between shifts, for example, where things are miscommunicated or left out. And then, of course, in this current world, they're integrating a lot of telehealth into that platform as well. So pretty robust platform. They're working with a paying customer for a couple of years and really ready to take this thing to market and scale it. Another company that I'd love to talk about is called Intake. So they have an in-toilet sensor for remote health monitoring. So they're passively taking samples of urine and measuring different biometrics from that. And that has applications very broadly for all sorts of conditions and healthcare outcomes. So that company, their CEO, Michael Bender, recently secured a phase 2 SBIR grant. So they're well on their way and excited to see where they go. But just like all of our companies, these two are good examples of, one with hardware, one that's pure software, but both leveraging data in interesting ways. In Intake's case, they're collecting data that has not been able to be collected before. Just by a sensor that's just sitting in your toilet. And then with On Call People, just the data that they're able to collect on just how to manage scheduling and communication much more efficiently in the hospital, and that has massive implications as well.
That's awesome, Rachel. David, I saw your eyes peek up at the in-toilet sensor, and those reactions are what we expect from a collaborative ecosystem where we share knowledge and transfer streams of value and look to create again that Olympic Venn to support our ecosystem. So look, panelists, we couldn't be more appreciative of your time. Your support in our virtual incubator, your support today, your support in our ecosystem. It is what makes North Carolina special and what will drive it to a leadership position to drive the 21st century forward as far as I'm concerned in health, wellness, community, connectivity, and overall harmony between business and life. So I really appreciate y'all's y'all's time today. We're going to move here and conclude the session of the panel and move to the announcement of our winners of our virtual incubator. It marks an incredible key moment for our incubator. Again, I don't say the end of our incubator because it is not the intent that our program concludes. It is merely a point in which we inflect to the next stage, where we highlight those that surface to the top and wrap around with the sponsors and the supporters that we have. So we had a ton of great submissions. Adam, why don't you kick us off here and get to announcing?
Yeah. This is my honor and exciting part. Before I do, I want to kind of set the stage by saying that we have 6 different winners that we're going to highlight. And I think that really does point to, they have varied solutions, and it reflects that the 6 of them reflect the fact that we had many great ideas coming in. Everybody didn't flock to one. I mean, really 6 different exciting things for these different organizations to support and drive to impact. So also want to point out that some of these ideas did win multiple awards, which was a neat validation of the appeal and the value that these innovation supporting organizations see. And in some cases, I've got to say that we had interest from particular sponsors and multiple winners, but they had to down select. So we were just pleased. I'll say that with the response, the ideas that came in, and with how things turned out with our sponsors. So I'm gonna do the exciting.
Oh yeah.
There we go. So glad that worked out. I go through these in no particular order, giving the 6 that I mentioned. So we had a submission called Faster Face Shield by William Su, and he was selected by Hangar 6 to get prototyping support to move his design forward. It'll be cool to see where that goes. Yeah, claps for him. A team submitted an idea they're calling real-time social distancing and at-home monitoring solution. So very much in line with the things we've been talking about. They've been selected by the RIoT Accelerator Program to be a finalist to move into that program. So they will get more information, of course, about that and the next steps. Etect Rx, a company that has a digital pill technology for monitoring adherence. So, I mean, just right there at the cutting edge. They are also a finalist to enter the RIoT Accelerator Program. Yeah. This is where our whole audience would be great to have.
Yeah, right. Where's the background?
Yeah, that's the one I should have gotten. The audience, yeah. So the next one is an innovation, or at least moving towards something we think will be innovative and have impact. HB Live, a visual health monitoring platform. And they won awards from 4 of our sponsors. Cone Health Ventures, so thank you to David for that. Device Solutions, Soto IP, gained legal support on pursuing intellectual property protection on that. And one of the last of the 3 that were invited and will be invited to be a finalist for the RIoT Accelerator Program.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool to see where those things go. These, all these should be very encouraged. The next one, a company that has what they call a zero power test strip. So this is to collect samples from the interstitial fluid space and do testing in a way that is painless, and so really increase the ability to test. For that, we have DermaSense. They have won awards from 3 of our sponsors, Cone Health again, Charlotte AHEC, and Pfizer Digital. Unfortunately, didn't get a chance to have them on the panel, but they brought Innovation Champion Award of $5,000. So great award for DermaSense. Finally, we have a company bringing in invention, an idea that they've actually moved forward on. I've had a chance to interact with them a little bit. Called iReflection digital health platform, helping out with mental health. They will have the opportunity to work with Assist. It's a good fit for the kinds of things Assist does. They have a wearable device that helps drive mental health and improve mental health care, and also Charlotte AHEC to explore clinical relevance for their invention. So yeah, again, if we could just give applause to all of these submitters. Very excited to see where they go, and again, grateful to our sponsors for that. Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Adam, for doing the honors, and thank you all the submitters that took time to participate, that were not chosen. Thank you so much. For all the individuals backstage that are not front and center that helped us pull this program together, from the Assist Center, from DHIT, from our sponsors and partners. Thank you so much. This does not only kind of wrap up the first stage of our incubator, but it also does conclude our season 2 programming of COVID-19 Unites Us All. And what a panel, what a way to really wrap up our I think 10 episodes of this season. So thank you so much to everyone who has attended this bi-weekly webinar series, and thank you to all the sponsors and partners and submitters that will move forward and mature their ideas and solutions to impact our communities. On behalf of DHIT, on behalf of the Assist Center, on behalf of our community, we thank you, and we look forward to hearing and supporting great things to come. With that, thank you all panelists. It's a great pleasure. We're tuning out now.